Welcome to the coolest stuff on the planet.
Hello, y'all. Welcome. That was my welcoming to you.
Y'all?
Yes, in the southern areas of the United States, we like to say y'all. So, hi, y'all. Welcome to the coolest stuff on the planet. My name is Matthew, and that lady sitting right over there is...
Rachel.
Yeah.
That's right. So, Matt, before we start up with today's hot topic, I have a little surprise for you.
Uh-oh.
Yes. So, you remember our podcast on Vatican City that we did recently? Okay. Well, I have some friends, good pals of mine, that just recently took a trip to Italy. So, They were in Rome. And when they were in Rome, guess where they went?
They went to the Vatican?
Yes, they did. And you know how I know that?
Because why?
Because they sent me a postcard from the
Wow.
Vatican City post office.
Can I see it?
Remember we were talking about that in the podcast? Yeah. So if you look here, I know you guys out there can't see this, but you can imagine it. It's just a postcard with the picture from the Sistine Chapel on the front, but the postmark says Vatican City and the stamp says Vatican City, and it's very awesome.
Wow. I like the picture on the front. Sistine Chapel, is that the God and Man?
I think so, yeah. The atom touching. Mm-hmm.
It's made famous by Arrested Development. If you haven't seen that show or the specific episode with this picture, you should check it out. They're
Nice
talking about
plug.
the food there. Oh, I want to go eat food.
I know, tasty, huh? So anyway, I thought that was cool because we talked about it, and then I actually got a postcard. So thank you so much, my friends. Awesome.
Yeah, feel free to send junk our way, because we will look at it and then talk about it on air, because I love stuff. It's so cool to get feedback like that, a physical piece of feedback.
Yeah, send us postcards, pictures, Twinkies, whatever you want.
I didn't mean junk. I just realized that I said junk. Send things, stuff, cool things our way.
Yes, and we will appreciate them on air.
Today we're heading to a place that's been requested by two of our listeners, Julia and Josh, and that place is Patagonia, which is a region located in the southernmost part of South America, and it's shared by Argentina and Chile. It's about 260,000 square miles, which is about the size of Texas if you kind of changed the aspect ratio of Texas and made it a little more tall and thin.
Gotcha.
Mm-hmm.
Gotcha, makes sense. So Patagonia is a very famous region, although I have to admit, I didn't really know very much about Patagonia until before we did our research. So, but it's a pretty remote region of the world, even today, which is kind of what makes it famous because it's sort of it appeals to the adventurous soul.
Oh yeah, and it's a land of contrast. Well, here we go. This is a huge list, everybody. You've got fjords, you've got lakes, towering mountain peaks, flatlands, plains, grasslands, glacial lakes, ice fields, and there are even rainforests in Patagonia.
It's intense.
This is intense. Seriously. And even with all that diversity, a lot of Patagonia hosts an inhospitable climate, right?
Right, because the steppe, which is like a semi-arid grassland, takes up a large part of at least Patagonian Argentina.
Mm-hmm.
So,
and it's not very populated in those areas because it really is it's a tough place to try and live.
Mm-hmm. So there's also interesting wildlife, which we will mention in a later episode. But it's kind of like an adventurer's paradise.
Mm-hmm.
So it's cool. But it is a really big topic. Like, it's very meaty. There's my brain. It almost broke my brain trying to research Patagonia.
Yeah, you did say it was brain breaking.
It's intense. So we are going to break it into 2 episodes so that we can point out some more cool stuff and give you some more detail.
Sweet.
Because we hate to shortchange you on Patagonia. Come on now.
So much Patagonia you're about to get.
That's right.
It's incredible. Well, let's start in Argentina first.
Let's do it.
And probably the most famous part of the Argentine Patagonia, or that side, is the Patagonian steppe. And it's just a huge dry wilderness that covers a little over 188,000 square miles. And it's almost all in Argentina, this Patagonian steppe.
Except for a little bit in Chile.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, which is a huge part of the whole. I mean, 188,000 out of 260,000.
Yes,
Whoa.
large. You only have about a little less than 100,000 square miles left.
Yeah, and that's STEPPE, by the way.
Yes, steppe.
So the steppe is classic Patagonia, what you think of Patagonian weather. It's cold, It's dry, and it's really, really windy. Apparently, Patagonia is very windy. I didn't know that. But I mean, I like the wind, so hey.
Yeah.
But I'm thinking it's probably a little bit more intense than like a Chicago-style wind.
I think so.
I don't know.
I think so.
If you've been to both, let us know.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I distracted myself. Sorry.
It's okay. Tell me about how it's popular.
Okay, yeah. So this area, it can't really do a lot agriculturally, so it's traditionally been used for grazing sheep and livestock. And that's where you get kind of the idea of the famous Argentinian gauchos, herding livestock around on their horses, which is kind of an iconic image of Argentina.
But it's not all dryness and windiness and livestockiness. In contrast to this desert region, southern Patagonia is home to massive ice fields. And one of the most famous attractions in Patagonian Argentina is the Glaciers with an S National Park.
Not to be confused with Glacier National Park,
we've talked about
is
before.
In Montana.
Exactly. And it's home to 47 large ice fields and just loads of glaciers.
Including the oh-so-famous glacier Perito Moreno. Well, sometimes you'll see it just referred to as the Moreno Glacier. But it's very unique amongst its glacier fellows because it's one of the few glaciers in the world that's not receding. It's actually advancing or growing.
Which is incredible for our current situation on this planet. And this glacier, it's so cool. It's almost Antarctic. Oh, snap. Okay, sorry. So it's 3 miles wide, it's 200 feet high, and 20 miles long. It extends into Lake Argentino and calving massive icebergs into the water, and sometimes it even clogs up the lake temporarily when it's advancing that way.
It like covers like half the lake sometimes.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Dams it all up.
So according to our viewer Josh, who was one of the ones that suggested Patagonia, he said that insects living on this particular glacier have glycol in their blood, which helps keep them from freezing to death.
That's crazy.
And I couldn't actually find a source on that. So Josh, if you have a good source on that, please send that to us. But what I did find was that some insects do have antifreeze proteins in their bodies, which do help them resist the cold, which to me is awesome.
Yes. Richard Dawkins would be very happy. And we need to send that information to him if he does not have it yet. In addition to glaciers, I'm sure he has that information. In addition to glaciers and ice fields, there are also some amazing mountain peaks in Glaciers National Park that are part of the Andes.
Which runs through the Patagonia in general, that range. But so two of the most famous ones in the park are Mount Fitzroy and Cerro Torre, which means Tower Hill in English. And these are both kind of well known because they're difficult in terms of mountain climbing, and they're supposed to be very challenging.
Yeah. Well, again, do this. If you find an internet, the one that's closest to you, just some internet.
Any internet.
And then do a quick search on that internet of Cerro Torre and use these two words, compressor and route. And if you search those 4 things together, you'll find a really cool story about one of the guys that went up and first climbed to the peak.
I'm going to do that after the podcast.
It's cool stuff.
By the way, that's Cerrotorre, Cerro Torre. So, another cool thing that you will find in Patagonia, in Argentina, is called, it's the Cave of the Hands, or the Cueva de las Manos. And it's found in the Santa Cruz province of Argentina, and I think it's also part of a national park. But tell me why it's cool, Matt.
Well, duh. It's a cave that's decorated with prehistoric paintings, and they're mostly of hands. There's all kinds of other stuff in there, but they're also just mostly hands, as the name suggests.
And they're like sort of negative, like stenciled hands, almost like if a kid, like kids trace their hands in school and stuff. It's kind of like that.
Yeah.
Like you have all these hands.
It's pretty cool.
It's beautiful. So yeah, Cave of the Hands, very cool. So that's all we have for this episode. I know that was a lot, all packed into one tiny little thing. So we're gonna save some more for next time.
That's about it. Enjoy. I hope you enjoyed it, and stay tuned for more.
For more on this and thousands of other topics, visit howstuffworks.com and let us know what you think. Email travelpodcast@howstuffworks.com. Don't forget to check out our other podcasts, free on iTunes.